Hi guys, welcome back. Last week, it is last week now because I'm a few days behind, was week 4. And primarily the readings and the lecture were about project charters and the logical framework, which it was good. It was, I'm going to say for me, it was a little bit dry. And that's not to say that it's not important, because it is very important. It's just stuff that you need to learn, you need to understand. And this is why I'm doing these videos as well, to help myself understand some of the topics that take a little bit of talking out, at least for me. But yeah, and it was interesting to sort of understand the rationale as to why project charters are important. And they are very important, because I'm sure there's been plenty of projects where the project charter wasn't well defined, and the whole thing falls to bits over time because people have different understandings of what the project is about. Realistically, the project charter, based on my very small understanding of it, is to make sure that the project starts off on the right foot, and that everyone who is involved with the project can focus on the right things. It is a statement of all the things that need to be focused on, like things like the scope, the preliminary budget, the risks, what's required, as well as getting the funding organization's approval for said charter. Now, with the logical framework, I actually found that one was quite interesting, mainly because it helped me understand how to differentiate between outcomes and outputs, which is very important in the project management space, because it's very easy to miss that as a project manager, you are responsible for the inputs and the outputs. You are not responsible for the outcomes or how the deliverables are used. And that is something that I definitely will need to grow in my understanding of, because, as I've said before, I'm kind of career hopping. I've mainly worked in small businesses going forward, and sure, there was some project administration and coordination roles involved in those small businesses, but it was always from the mindset of, like, ultimately I was kind of thinking operationally and strategically as well, always sort of coming back to those elements when I was doing those whatever projects I was doing, and that is the result of small businesses being very low level ad hoc style project management organizations. And yeah, it was this week sort of reminded me that as a project manager, you need to pretty much hyper focus even on what you're responsible for, which is the inputs and the outputs. And I guess that even comes out of the project charter, because the project charter helps you see, okay, this is what the inputs are, this is your expected outputs. Live from the project charter, and you should be pretty safe generally, unless the project charter wasn't well designed to begin with, but that's, I suppose, a completely separate thing. But yeah, so this week was interesting. I was doing the assignment. I finished the assignment early because I had my 30th birthday at the end of last week, and so I wanted to get that out of the way. And it's interesting because I think I may have, looking like doing I did week 4's study after I submitted the assignment, and as I've gone through that, I'm going, I may have stuffed up a few things in my assignment, but that's okay. I'm sure it should be fine, but we'll see how that goes. But anyway, that kind of wraps it up for me for this week, for last week, week 4. The biggest take home for me was project management inputs and outputs, as set out from the project charter and the logical framework. That is your bread and butter as a project manager. Live there, don't like, it's not that you shouldn't think about strategic or organizational management issues. It's more that focus on what's important for you as a project manager, doing those things, and you should have better outcomes, which is a little bit ironic considering what I said about inputs and outputs. Anyway, we'll see you in a few days.